This is the Fusion electric bike from Cutler Cycles, and this is Lamont Cutler.
Hey everybody.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
Yeah, this has been a fun day. I kind of drove out, and what we're looking at here is the prototype for your Fusion electric bike. Where did the name come from, by the way?
It was kind of I would say it's a culmination of all of my talents and all of the best ideas and e-biking that I could put together. So I kind of came up with this thing, the Fusion, as a way to say, hey, this is all of the talents and everything fused into one project, you know?
Well, and I like it. I haven't seen anything quite like this before, and you know, what really stood out to me was the higher top speed, the greater power, and really these batteries. These are AGM, so can you tell me what that stands for again?
AGM is a absorbed glass mat.
Okay, and it's a type of sealed lead acid, sort of?
It's a lead acid, and not in the traditional sense. It would be basically that expensive one that you have to pay in your auto retailer. Mm-hmm. It's that high price point battery. It's developed by the military. Okay. So really, it's a world apart of the traditional lead acid battery.
Okay, and so that being that, you know, it doesn't have to be sealed in the same way because there's no like liquid inside. It's not like a deep cycle boat
Transportation
battery.
approved. It can be sawed in half. Nothing will leak out of it.
Super durable then.
Exactly.
And recyclable. So I was reading your campaign. So you got a Kickstarter campaign for this. You've made a few of these for people like in real life, right? And sold them?
Exactly. Yeah. That's how we started off. We made a few, and really I made a project to begin to make a few, and I sold those really quickly. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, this is something, and people told me, hey, you're onto something here, and I love the experience I have on it, and I want other people to, try it out. So. Right.
Okay. And I don't want to make you commit to any like future pricing, but this is under $1,000, and that's like the MSRP that you're looking for. And it seems like you're kind of a startup, and you make a lot of this by hand, and you said that you're sort of a product designer?
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Okay, and so the aluminum shields on the side and everything, and like the battery brackets and stuff, you've kind of custom engineered that.
Exactly, that's all basically, especially with the battery brackets, that's a proprietary type of hardware there, just because there's no solutions on the market. Mm-hmm. It's a great battery, but there's no solution, so you had to make something to work for it.
And I love that. Okay, I was using the word like tinker earlier. I like that word. Just someone who's maybe like engineering oriented, hands-on. If you got a bike like this, there are 4 of these batteries here within the frame, right? You can kind of see one down there and one down there, and they're all sort of protected visually by this aluminum shield. It probably also gives them, it's physically as well.
Material there. It's a very strong material. That's puncture proof. If you hit a rock, you drop down a rock, you're not gonna punch through that side with the,
And I love, in this case, you also have a little bit of venting going on, and there's your controller. And this one, we took the shield off. Normally there'd be kind of like a shield here too, and basically you just see this nice little readout, but you also have a more traditional LCD display up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do, my take on it now, just kind of like the review, because I have ridden this thing, I've had some fun on it. As if this was the final product, because you said you just expect the only things to change is you're looking to maybe do triggers so that you can have this twist throttle a little bit better positioned. And what else? Is there anything else that's going to change on the final production version?
From this version here, we have the off-road one as well, but from this one we tried out the shorter handlebars. We're gonna go with the traditional long mountain bike handlebars on it. That's what we chose for stability and other reasons. Yeah. And aside from that, we seem to at this point we're gonna go with what we have here. We don't really have too many details besides all the finishing details that we're gonna
they're on, like the charging port. Okay, so now I'm gonna jump in. I'll take it from here. And
thanks, Court.
Absolutely. It's been a lot of fun out here. So this is my take on the bike. This is a 95-pound electric bike. That's a lot heavier than the other low-speed electric bikes that I've reviewed, right? A lot of times they're like 55 pounds or something. The cool thing about this is it has a 48-volt battery, the combination of those 4 different cells, and I think it's around 17 amp hours, so it's really large, both in terms of power and in terms of capacity to get a solid range. And when I was riding this around the park here, we've been doing a little bit of off-roading and then a little bit of on-road. It was quiet, but it's definitely heavier. Lifting this, trying to get it around, it can be a little bit difficult. And taking those batteries off isn't easy. They're really built into this kind of the shield area. The battery, the controller, everything is sort of integrated that way, and that's cool because it's a little more do-it-yourself. And I think on Kickstarter right now, these things are going with shipping and everything. It's like around $800. So you're getting a lot of power, getting decent range, and that speed thing that I know a lot of people like. And you've got a full suspension setup here. So it's a more basic frame, you know, Mongoose. Just got this element suspension fork. There's no adjustability, and in my experience there's not a whole lot of travel. It might be because the bike's loaded up with weight, but you know, it does sponge it up a little bit. We've also got a rear suspension here, you know, just kind of a spring shock, and this is my favorite part of the suspension, not so much the fork, because it could use improvement in terms of the range. The rear suspension does soften it up, and you get a little bit more mass here so that the ride's a little bit cushier, but not too cushy, maybe as it could be. And then you've got a nice little 7-speed Shimano cassette back here. I don't know if it doesn't actually say which model it is. I'd imagine it's like Tourney or something, like much lower end. You've got 3 sprockets up front, so ultimately this is a 21-speed bike, and they've just kept the grip shifters on this version, again, prototype, and then they've put the twist throttle out to the end. So this isn't, you know, it's not like the most comfortable thing to ride. Thankfully, they also have pedal assist, and there are 5 levels set up. They read off of this 8-magnet pedal X sensor here, so those magnets pass by that little red sensor, and it works pretty well. I mean, it's actually smooth and fairly responsive. One of my favorite parts is that they actually use these like whooshing, you know, again, entry-level type components from China, but it's got these brake lever inhibitors, so it does cut power to the motor and pedal assist level, and it initiates regeneration. So this is a nice 1,000-watt gearless direct drive rear hub. And it's kind of brandless. You know, I searched it, and it's not Crystal Light. It's just sort of a generic 1,000-watt. And in California, that is legal. California has the higher sort of motor watt acceptance. And so you can put this in street mode and go 20 miles per hour twist throttle, or you know, maybe up to like 28 miles per hour pedal assist based on those specifications, and kind of use this like a bicycle. You know, it doesn't look like most bicycles, but it's nice that that's possible and that you can get that great range. Aesthetically, you know, I think that the bike does pretty well for $800 for what you're getting here, and it's sort of like a real interesting mix of technology. Of course, the reason that it weighs so much is because sealed lead acid has lower energy density, but replacing these is much more affordable than a lithium battery. On the other hand, you're only going to get, you know, 500 or so cycles, where the lithium battery might get, you know, 1,500 or something like that if you took really good care of it. So kind of keep that in mind. You know, you can't take those off if you're parked. There's going to be some sort of a password thing where people can't tamper with your bike, but physically, your batteries are in the bike, and you got to bring the bike inside. If you live upstairs, a 95-pound bike is going to be pretty difficult. Even stopping the bike, we've got these sort of standard V brakes that probably weren't designed to stop tons of weight, you know, but frankly, you know, I weigh 135 pounds plus 100 pounds, you know, it's 250 pounds. There are people that weigh that much, and they'd be fine on the bike. So I think it's all right, but it's just worth calling out. You know, you're going at a higher speed and you have more weight. Some of the higher end mountain bikes have like 203 millimeter hydraulic disc brakes. You're not dealing with that. You're dealing with more generic you know, hardware here, and rim brakes actually have good leverage because they're stopping the wheel from way out here instead of right in the middle. So what I'm saying is it's capable. As far as, you know, my experience has been. I haven't tested this real rigorously, but I've had a lot of fun with it, and I was impressed with how quiet it was, and just how affordable and kind of DIY it was. You could get this thing and you'd have like kind of a fun platform to mess around with. You could replace the suspension fork, improve the ride quality there. You could change up the handlebars if you wanted. Like he said, that the stock ones are going to be a little bit longer. They're not going to be this kind of like tiny, you know, they were trying to build like a race bike out of this one. So like you're all hugged in and aerodynamic, that kind of thing. And I get that. Pedals here, just generic plastic platform, because again, a lot of the hardware is just coming off of that Mongoose Status 2.2 is what it looks like this frame might have been initially, which again is just super cheap frame that they put stuff on. And it is aluminum alloy, the whole thing. Makes it a little bit lighter weight possibly than steel would be. I guess that's kind of it. Oh, I did want to call out the wheels here. These are definitely a highlight on this one. It looks like thick, slick, 26 by 2 inch. So that's kind of cool. They add a little bit of cushion, you know, when you're going over bumps and stuff. And they do have kind of the off-road version. So if and when the campaign is successful, you might be able to pick your tire or whatever. And in the future, if you're just buying these direct from them, because I think they're going to continue to make them whether their campaign's successful or not. If you just buy one, it might end up costing a little bit more, but I imagine you have some say in the different parts that they put on it. So with that, maybe it's time to boot it up. So the batteries are all charged and everything, and I'm gonna go ahead and press this little power button on the remote button pad here. Screen comes to life. They've got it programmed to start on assist level 3. There are 5 levels. It does go down to 0, but this isn't a throttle mode. Like, the throttle doesn't work on 0, which is kind of a bummer. They might be able to program that in the future, but there really isn't a throttle mode. You have to go up to one of the levels of pedal assist. And the nice thing is, though, that the throttle output is at 100% on any of the levels of assist. So you don't need to be in like level 5, which is kind of nice. You got your battery indicator, your trip time, motor wattage, speed, distance, pretty standard stuff. And I like that, you know, the button pad can be reached fairly easily while you're riding the bike. And yeah, let's hop on. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna do assist level 1 at first. For an 8 sensor pedelec disc, like, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty responsive, and I like that it's not like torque sensing, because this is a heavier bike and I don't want to be like pushing. I just want to barely move my feet and have the bike help me, and that's exactly what happens here, and that's pretty nice. I'm gonna go ahead and go up to level 5 now. Whoa, and you can really feel it get going. A little bit, like, but not much. It's actually a really pleasant motor, you know, that sort of the direct drive, smooth, quiet, durable. And then when you do brake, you can see there's like a little regen mark happening right there, and so that's really cool. And also, I mean, here I am pedaling, but I'm activating the brake, and because of those motor inhibitors, it's not powering me. So I love that sort of safety feature. They definitely added those on. Really gets you going. And that extra weight just kind of, you know, yeah, it's like smooth. There's a real sense of kind of momentum, and it's like fluid feeling. And there's not a whole lot of rattling or anything like that. I don't actually feel like, I don't feel especially unsafe or anything, even though the frame and some of these other parts are kind of basic. The bike feels, you know, it's fun, it's interesting. Yeah, it's the Fusion electric bike from Cutler Cycles. For the full write-up on this and more info, I'll see you back at ElectricRideReview.com.